telling my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Camille Smith. Welcome, folks. First of all, I'm annoyed that the weather's getting hella cold. Okay? I shouldn't have to be wearing a sweater and things first week of September. Like, what's going on? Okay? So I'm cheesed about that, but I'm actually really excited. Y'all don't know. I've been waiting for this time for a minute, but it's finally here. You know, last time I seen him was at Dale's event, and we now have him here again. Let's bring on our guest. Brr, 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 brr. Well, go on, Charles.
What's going on? What's going on?
Been good. And yourself?
I'm doing excellent. I can't complain. I love the intro. I love
Yes,
the
yes,
intro.
yes. And it's so funny that you're wearing Dale and Fraz shirt,
Yeah,
consistency
yeah.
is key. Yes.
Consistency
So
is
big up
key.
your so big up yourself. And
Yeah. Shout out to Dale.
I've been telling folks I've been excited for this conversation for the longest time. And so we were like, why? Why are you so excited? I'm like, y'all don't even know what type of gems this man has. So I just want to first let the people know who you are. So tell the folks who you are, sir.
Yeah, no, who am I? So obviously for those who don't know who I am, Charles Kayitaba. I am I'm in the business of real estate. More specifically, I am a mortgage specialist that specializes in commercial financing. Um, Commercial financing being under the umbrella of both real estate and business, right? So that's in a nutshell what I do, my professional background. I do operate a brokerage in Mississauga here called the Money Mint, along with two other partners. Um, and outside of that, just just a normal dude like everyone else, like everybody else, right? I wouldn't say there's nothing too crazy about me, but I just love what I do, extremely passionate about what I do, and educating people, and just trying to leave the world a little bit better than how I left it.
Bomb. And I appreciate that. And I've been following you for a year since I seen you at the Black Friday. And the big thing that like drew me to you is that you're down to earth and you're spitting knowledge that like I can't say I've heard before, but yeah, I haven't heard about it before, like financing and stuff. And I was like, wait, this is really special. Like, what is this about? And I just wanted them to know what inspired you to get into Money Mint.
Yeah, for sure. So for context, so the Money Mint is actually just we rebranded, right? So it's actually a business that myself and my mentor at the time, Amin Sodi, we bought into it together. So we started this brokerage together along with um a few of his cousin Pratik, and we formalized this together. So is a brokerage that specializes in commercial financing. Now, what got me into the industry, right? More
Mhm.
specifically,
Yeah.
um, to be honest with you, I was in a position. I was about 21 or 22, and
Mhm.
I was doing well for myself considering the time in my age, but working 12, 14 hours a day in the fitness industry, and at that time making a good 75K ish a year at 21, 22 years old. But I was working all day, 14 to 15 hours a day, every day, managing studios,
Yeah.
about 5 to 6 days a week. Um, and even on your days off. So I always knew there had to be an easier way
Hmm.
to make money, right? Um, and I've always just been a natural, very curious dude. Ask a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Always want to understand who makes money, where is money coming from, and I always had a what's the word I'm looking for? I always had a like I was always drawn to naturally drawn to and had an affinity
Mm-hmm.
towards people who were moving and shaking on a large scale, right?
Yeah.
And then I was able to get tapped in with my mentor at the time named Nathaniel Gardner out in the East End,
Mm-hmm.
real estate investor. He taught me really the basics of finance and investments, and then I started investing my money with him on a few real estate projects. So he actually inspired me to think a little bit bigger because he retired from his corporate job at 26 years old, leaving either
Stop.
Manulife.
Stop. How?
He was 26. He was 26 or 27 when he retired from his corporate job. Yeah.
Wow.
So um yeah, so he had enough rental properties,
Mm-hmm.
enough cash flow from his rental properties that he felt confident enough to quit his corporate job and put all his time into real estate full time. So when he got me that young, I'm like, man, that's insane. Like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. So it was at
Mm-hmm.
that point in time I knew that, hey, do you know what? Yes, it's good to work hard. Yes, it's good to hustle. You know what I mean? But um, your body, there's only a finite time period of time where your body can handle working that many hours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You need to
Mm-hmm.
find different investments and different cash flowing opportunities to grow your money, right? And that always came in the form of business, working for yourself.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. Not a small percentage of people become extremely wealthy
Mm-hmm.
working in a job or working for somebody else, unless you're some sort of professional, have some sort of professional designation, like a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. And even at that point in time, chances are they're opening up their own practice or firm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. So I knew that, okay, I need to understand, business. And so I started while I was working at Orange Theory Fitness, right, managing the studios. I was investing my money with Nathaniel in some of his real estate projects, right, and learning the game of real estate, cash for keys, how to underwrite a deal, how to analyze a good real estate buy, how to turn over tenants, things of that
Yeah.
nature. And I was just doing that for free off the rip,
Mm-hmm.
just because I wanted to learn, right?
Of
Because I
course.
had my job. I was good. I had my job. So,
Mm-hmm.
in the evenings and on weekends, I'll go out to his rental properties and, do all the management for him and whatnot. So
Okay, so that makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense because you were semi intern, but
correct.
still like learning the game because it does take time to actually learn the game, right?
Mhm.
And I love how you're able to associate that with your previous career back in the day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're able to understand that, like the life balance. Like there is some comments in the chat. So big up Minnie on cam. She made it. Yes, yes, yes. She's such a nerd. She's saying we're still in double digits. And she says the work life balance on your feet, not my soul will not allow it. So obviously there's other folks that understand what you're going through with the working like 12, 14 hours a day and then being
Yeah.
able to manage that or being able to know how to move from working 12 or 14 hours a day and getting more cash flow and getting back your time
Game
essentially,
back. Yeah, so I
right?
would say, to be honest, because I don't want to also, put any like I have to be honest and integral when I'm speaking, right? So at 21 and 22, 23, don't get me wrong, I was still, even when I was learning with Nate, right? I
Mm,
was just trying to figure out the game of real estate, right?
okay.
So I was still working my 12-hour days, but
Mhm.
spending an extra, maybe now intentionally cutting back maybe an hour or two to learn
Okay.
a different product, to learn a different game. So, and I didn't even get into this. So essentially, just to fast forward, one of the
Mhm.
deals that I invested on with Nathaniel, the
Yeah.
return I got on that was like a third of my salary. And I didn't even really do anything. I just gave him the money.
Yeah.
So once I got that money, because it's different when you're doing it, but once you actually see the return, on investment,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, holy crap. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, wait a second, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
onto something
This
here.
is this is
Within
big.
6 months, I wrote my broker license to become a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
I was honestly depending agent, real estate agent, or mortgage broker. And I'm like, do you know what?
Mhm.
I'm more of a numbers guy. I like handling money. I like talking to people. I like understanding where the money's coming from, right?
Yeah.
And I want to understand. I always knew that finance was the language of the super wealthy individuals, right? And so I'm like, do you know
Yeah.
what? Mortgage broker it is, broke my license,
Yeah.
and then that's how I grew from there, became a mortgage broker, grew my book of business to 35 million, and then now opened up the separate broker. But just to fast forward so we cannot understand like the timeline.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. So the folks that like numbers and wants to learn these type of things, Charles is here to guide us in the promised land, right? And well, now let's see, because the one thing I really love about what you talk about is, and this is one thing that I don't think a lot of folks in Canada talk about, and that's like business financing or acquiring existing businesses. Because everyone
Mhm.
always thinks like, oh, I'm just gonna start my own business. I don't care. It's gonna be my baby. I'm gonna start from the bottom, and then we're gonna have it like be successful. But I feel like the niche that you've talked about, because I know you talk about like residential real estate, but I feel like the commercial real estate is something that people don't have a better understanding, and I just want folks to understand like that guidelines of things. So what's one thing that people can learn about acquiring an existing business?
Yeah, I think acquiring an existing business essentially means you're just buying money, right? If you're doing
Mhm.
you're buying cash flow. That's the whole point of it because
Yeah.
um the whole point of it limits the time of trying to grow a business is the hard part, right? Building infrastructure, building processes, team systems, and then carving out your marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Now the only difference is if you're buying already an existing business, right? Most of the time it already has a team in place, or it already has systems and processes, already
Mhm.
has a built up book, right? And
Okay.
it already had, and it's just things that are missing that you think based off your own, professional background or your own understanding of the business that you can optimize to make it better.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's already making money on the day, hopefully at least on when you're acquiring it. All you're
Yeah.
doing is really focusing on growing revenue.
Yeah.
But the hardest part of the business is the first couple of years is getting it turning over, right? And building
True.
consistency. So you've already missed all that. You've already gone past all that, right? So I think that's the easiest way. And on top of that, the way the Canadian economy and the demographic of where Canada is right now, we're in a really, really unique time where I think acquiring businesses will make future multi millionaires and billionaires in Canada.
Yeah.
We're on a business podcast, so we got to throw out some numbers, right? People need to understand that Canada's gross domestic product, so GDP, right?
Mhm.
Canada's GDP, over 50% of Canada's GDP derives from small and medium-sized businesses. All right. So a small and medium-sized business can be defined as an operation or a company that has anywhere from as little as one up to 499 employees. All right.
Mhm.
Now this is where it gets interesting. All right. About 60% of all small and medium-sized businesses, more specifically small businesses in Canada, all
Yeah.
right, are being operated and owned by baby boomers. The youngest baby boomer today is 60 years old.
True. True.
Right?
Jeez.
Is 60 years old. And unfortunately, the majority of them do not have a succession plan. So a succession plan meaning they don't have a retirement plan. They don't know
Mhm.
who they don't have someone to pass down their business to because kids don't want to take over the family business
Yeah.
and they have nobody to sell it to in the open market. All right. So a really cool statistic by Yahoo Finance came out, and within the next 5 years, and this was in 2022, it came out. within the next 5 years, 2 out of every 5 small businesses in Canada will go under because of lack
Hold on,
of
hold on.
succession.
Say it again. Say it again. I need folks to read these things when you're saying it at the same time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Yeah.
maybe we can, I'll do my best to find the article, but it's
Yeah.
from Yahoo Finance, came out in
Mhm.
2022.
Yeah.
2 out of every 5 businesses in Canada
Mhm.
will either be forced to shut down or sold on the open. Or sorry, it would either be forced to shut down or sold on the open market at an extreme discount because of lack of succession planning.
Mm,
Right?
I'm summarizing it.
No, that's all right. Now this provides,
Yeah.
this provides opportunity.
True.
Because what happened is if you're an individual, say, hey, do you know what? I can come into this business, right? And put a succession plan in place for the owner so they can
Mm,
exit for retirement. So you can take over a business, you can work in the business for 3 years, and after 3 years, you have some sort of agreement with the owner where they turn the keys over to you. And
yeah.
maybe now they even have a retirement plan because again, Canadians, unfortunately, the majority of them don't have retirement plans or retirement savings, right?
Mhm.
Or now you can even put a retirement plan where maybe they're still a part of the business, but on a very, a small level where they're just coming in here and there and they're still incurring income, but you have full ownership and, you
Yeah.
know, and control of that business, right? And now you've picked up maybe $1 million revenue generating business, $500,000 revenue generating business with little to no income, right?
Yeah.
And without having to build it from the ground up.
Okay. I love this. Hold on. There's questions. There's comments. There's comments.
Mhm.
So there's pivot. M. Allen's like interesting perspective. Buying a business like buying money, aka cash flow. True. Also, Minnie's like when you know the business profit and loss and other financial statements, it could be. That's true. There's a small and medium-sized business conference every year happening in Canada, and we're gonna talk about that soon, like a different one. And then you need to plan. True. Divorce, disease, disability, disinterest, and addiction.
Mhm.
Very much so. So like even okay, so I like that plan. I love that plan with like a 3-year plan. So they're still in the business, the baby boomer, and they're able to teach you the ropes of the thing.
Yeah.
And that like that's a no-brainer. So like okay, for something like that, would you suggest folks that are normally in that industry or like they have no idea what's happening in this industry and they just want to like take a risk and then just jump for it?
No, so we have to be honest with ourselves, right? Because at the end
Mm,
of the day, business is hands on, right?
yes,
It's a business. I like to say it's a contact sport. It's different between business and investing, right?
true.
So let's just say this. If you're planning to buy a business, my idea is you plan to be the CEO. So you're still in the business operating it. It makes you need to have an understanding of the industry that in which it falls in. So my hope would be is because you either have an interest in that, you have a degree or a background in that specific space, which gives you the competitive edge, right?
Yeah,
That you think, oh, I can take this business, and increase revenue 10x or whatever the case may be, right?
yeah.
Now, once you get to a point where, let's say, the business is making a couple $1 million a year, and now
Mm,
you see, hey, I can horizontally grow this business by acquiring other businesses,
yeah.
acquiring my competitors, right? That's
That's
where
simple.
and that's where now the mergers and acquisition game comes into place. But now you're just simply investing, but you already have teams and operators there ready to take over. So you don't have
Yeah.
to be in the business because you've already removed yourself, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think there's a difference between that because that's more so strategic investing,
Yes, 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 yes. Okay,
right?
okay. Understood, understood. So, folks, let's be realistic. I know there's some people that want that barbershop or that laundromat, but if you have no idea what's happening, you got to educate yourself first, right?
Sure, for
And
sure.
that And that's a so. Let's see, what would be the steps for someone to take that? Let's say, actually, I've always thought about a laundromat, so I'm gonna say a laundromat. What are the steps like if someone wanted to have a laundromat? What steps would they take?
Yeah, so a laundromat is actually pretty easy. It's pretty turnkey. You don't have to really be there all day every day, but you
Yeah,
do have to understand, I would say, how financing works on a laundromat unless you're buying it 100% cash down, right?
yeah. Mhm.
So you can get financing for the bank for like for a laundromat, for example, right? But the thing with the laundromat, it's a cash based business, right?
True.
So
Yes.
so chances are, let's be honest, most of the
Mhm.
individuals are probably not filing or reporting all the income in a laundromat. So how do you actually value, right? How does the bank actually value the laundromat to get financing for it? Well, very
Yeah.
easy. It's the equipment and the leasehold within that laundromat, right?
Okay.
So the dryer, the washing machines, what renovations, the signage. So what renovations have you put into that space,
Yeah.
right? To increase the value of that business, because obviously there's a direct correlation between the newest and best, washers and dryers, and the best layout of the laundromats,
Mhm.
aesthetically, to
Yeah.
revenue, because you're going to attract more people to come in, stay there all day, do the laundry, and whatnot. So that's what the banks are going to look at on an appraisal, right? They're going to appraise it based off of the equipment within the laundromat. Now, based off the appraisal, right?
Hmm.
um the bank, depending on the industry, so this is a laundromat, will probably give you anywhere between 70% to 75% of the value of the appraisal in the form of a loan,
Okay. Okay. So 70 to 75%. Okay. It's like to give people's numbers.
right? So for example, if
Uh.
you're buying a laundromat for 100K, you can
Yeah.
probably get a loan for like 70 to 75,000. That means you'd
Hmm.
have to come up with the additional 2025.
Okay. Okay. And then be able to purchase it off someone that's trying to retire and things, essentially.
It doesn't need to be tired. You can even buy it on the MLS, right? People sell laundromats all the time. You can even buy it on market, right?
Okay. Okay. Oh, what site is that again? I remember Dale telling me about it and I was like, but I can't remember it at this very moment.
Businessexchange.com.
Ah, okay. And go on .com. Okay. So we have it. And then where do you come into play when it comes to folks trying to get this done?
Well, I essentially help consult, right?
Okay. Okay.
Because now what I do is I'm going to prepare the financing for you, right?
Okay.
Because you need to put together a business plan, you need to put together projections, right?
Hmm.
And then present the file in a way for the banks can approve it, right?
Okay.
And that's
Got
where I come to a lot of people who are not going to have the just the overall wherewithal to be able to mitigate, to intermediate that, right?
yeah.
Because there's certain things that the banks are looking for,
Hmm.
in order so they can underwrite and approve the deal. And just through my experience within real estate and mortgage brokering, and my partners who come from commercial banking sector, both with RBC, Scotia,
Hmm.
and TD, they understand those things, right?
Yeah.
And now we're able to consult on a high level and get these deals across the finish line and approved, based off on our experience in commercial banking.
Okay. And I remember last week you mentioned someone mentioned about financing or like small business grants.
Yes.
What was what is that? How is people able to maximize on that grant? I'm trying to remember it because I put it in my notes. I was like, what did he say? I got it.
I think so. Grants isn't really grants are very important.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's free money. So I would say wherever you can get free money, take it, right? Um,
Oh, sorry,
I'm
sorry. It's a Canadian small business financing program.
There it is. There it is.
Yes,
Yes, the
yes,
Canadian
yes.
Small Business Financing Program.
And why is that essential for Canadians or just anyone that's looking about financing?
It's just the easiest loan program, right? So I think
Okay.
it's just a great way to get educated on and know that that's out there, which
Yeah.
allows for we kind of just touched on it for the laundromat, right? Because
Yes.
that's the loan program that would have qualified to buy that laundromat. So you can get up to 500,000 towards the
Okay.
purchase of a business. 500,000 towards the purchase of a business, and which that loan is against the leasehold improvements and the equipment,
Okay. Okay. So that it would be essential for that type of industry.
right?
Hmm. Is there any other industries that would be beneficial?
Pretty much all I would say, because any most of the industries that in Canada
Hmm.
are going to have some sort of equipment and leasehold to it, right? When you open up a doctor's office, you're going to have to do a
Hmm.
build out, which can cost extremely expensive, and you're going to
Yeah.
need equipment for the doctor's office. All the modalities and things of that nature are quite expensive. Just those two things alone, right? So, really across the board, it's probably the most common one or the one that's most commonly used, right?
Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to put it up for the folks that are listening. Boom, bam, bam. Okay. Oh, and I think I've seen something on your IG. The franchise expo coming up. That one's
So
exciting. Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
no. The franchise expo, I think, is just a great overall event that
Mm-hmm.
individuals can kind of go and learn and shake hands and build relationships with franchisors, right?
Yes.
Who are selling their franchises, who are looking to sell franchises to quality buyers, right? Or quality investors, I should say, and they're there to sell, right? So they're going to be open to talking to you, open to
Mhm.
exchanging contact details, where you can go out for lunch or coffee and really understand, where are the opportunities in these franchises to get in? What markets can you potentially take control over and buy the rights to and things of that nature, right? So and when people say franchises, it's funny, they often just think restaurants, right? But that's not the case, right? Franchises can go from, there's so many different like home healthcare franchises. There's so many different, home care service franchises. And it spans across the board. It's not just restaurant hospitality.
Yeah. And I guess that's just like not anyone's fault because they just didn't. The only time they see like a franchise is like they see like Tim Hortons, Chipotle, those type of things, and they don't
Mhm.
realize that there's like other franchise. I'm actually glad you mentioned that because I mean the only thing I really think about is food or like Money Mart or those type of things that are a
Yeah.
franchise. So I'm glad you're able to open the horizon about that. And well, there's other. So hold on. Millie says, wait, the whole CIBA loan that cannot be paid back and they have to sell. I don't know about that. And there's vending machines as well.
Mhm.
But I think
Vending
existing,
machines are a little bit different because naturally you're just buying the vending machines from the actual, unless you're buying an existing vending machine business, right?
yeah, true.
It might be even, I would say it's probably cheaper just to buy individual vending machines and go from there.
Exactly. That's what I
My
was.
assumption.
When I travel to the US, they get the coin. Oh, that would be nice to have as well. Coin video
Mm.
game machines. On the mat, changed two owners already. True. Well, I mean, it all depends on like management and stuff with things like that, a laundromat, because
Mhm.
anyone can change. Then don't like running their business. Interesting. That's interesting. Or if you want the Colonel Popcorn franchise. Minnie's just being extra and stuff, but I love it. I love it. And what would you say is so as a mortgage broker, and for the folks that want to become that, what is like the pros and cons about it? I know there's a lot of time, it's time consuming at times, but I know there's someone that's going to be watching this and be like, you know what? I want to start my mortgage brokerage license. I want to do it. Where
Mhm.
do I start? How do I do it? So what's a pro and con for it?
Yeah, like I would say that, you know, I'll say it's the pro and con to really any business, right? I would say start off with your interest. Like, what do you like
Mm,
to do? Because I feel like that would then go into the business that you want to, be in. Like, I'm very passionate about just the topic of business and investing and money, right?
mm-hmm,
So I like being a mortgage agent because I get to talk about interest rates. I get to talk about Excel spreadsheets and money and savings opportunities and things like that for the families that I'm working with, right? I also like, just speaking with people and connecting people
yeah,
from all different types of, business and financial backgrounds, because I use that as a learning opportunity for myself as well, right?
sure.
Um, that's what I like about it. What's a con?
Mm-hmm,
A con is like, I would say has the same con as any other business. It's very easy to become a slave to your business. It's very easy to like it you kill what you eat. Like, it's very easy to get burnt out, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Especially
mm-hmm.
in this market right now, which is a tough market, um which is the same in any other commissioned or
Okay,
sales type of business, right? I don't think it's just for mortgage agents or mortgage brokers or realtors or anything like that. So I would, I would say it's you're because those cons are all the same, and
mm-hmm,
those hard times are going to be there. Well, it's easy when now you're passionate about a certain topic, right?
exactly.
and
True.
and you and you love what you're doing. That's what I would say.
Okay, okay. I know I love what you're doing because I could tell. Like, um, I really admire your charisma and personality, like real talks. And I was watching another one of your shows and or like interviews, and the fun fact that you want people to know. I want to do a fun thing right now. What is a fun fact about you that you would like to express right now?
Fun fact about me. Wow, you really put me on the spot here, Camille. Fun fact about me. Yeah. Do you know what's funny? It's funny, but I think a lot of people think I'm very like I'm a very serious individual.
Mm,
I didn't realize that. I think that's the energy I give off, but I would like to think myself. I'm actually, I think I'm funny. I don't know if my fiance agrees. But, um, I would say I'm a pretty laid back individual.
okay.
I absolutely love food, and I love working out. So those are like my interests, right? You can either catch me
Okay.
eating
Yeah.
or or um or in the gym,
Okay.
I,
Okay.
right?
That
But
makes sense
yeah, but
based
I'm
on your
not.
background.
Yeah, but I'm learning to maybe let my personality show a little bit more in the whole business dynamic. But yeah, I would say those are probably my biggest interest. Oh, and I guess I like to read. Reading is
You
big.
learn?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Which
I'm a
books?
big Audible guy.
Okay. I think what one of your favorites is. Shucks, now I'm testing myself. Just listened to it recently. Ah, Babylon.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. See, I did my
Mhm.
research. I did my
That
homework.
one. But recently I've been reading. I just finished the 22 Unrefutable Laws of Marketing. Great book.
Huh?
Um,
What is that? I
I,
gotta.
I, I highly advise any entrepreneur business owner to read that one. And one of the classics I read at least once or twice a year, and I always go back to it, is
Yeah.
Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
See now you gotta write them in the chat so I can research these and be able to look because those are some. And then what? And then he's saying readers are leaders. That is true. That is true because you gotta read as much as possible. Okay, outwitting the devil. Hmm. Sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah,
You
no, for
definitely
sure.
have
That
to
was
do that.
well, that's more of a personal development book. And then
Mhm.
yeah, the 22 unrefutable laws of marketing is great. Um, I forget the one I'm reading right now at the top of my head.
Yeah.
Uh, let me just open up my Audible app real quick.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, Psycho Cybernetics, also a really good one.
What? You gotta type these, sir. Because you know what? I realized, like, especially with business, and you just said, like you said it before, the life balance is trying to still have time to educate yourself and time to read, learn, still learn about what's happening in your field. Because learning is okay. This one, I'm definitely gonna save this one. What?
Yeah, that Psycho Cybernetics is actually probably one of my all-time favorite business books.
Okay, okay. So folks, make sure you read, write down these things. I'm giving it to you right here. It's up to you to research it. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So May says, is it this one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. So this book, boom. She says she knows these books. Babylon, or the richest man in Babylon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, E-Myth. Okay, E-Myth is pretty dope. I read that one as well. Um, Also, let's see. So we talked about the pros and cons. Talked about financing. Um,
But I was gonna say, even with the books, what I also realized is we can even I was thinking about this, right? I
mhm,
when people ask me what's my favorite books to read, I feel like sometimes we're in a culture of like um just read for entertainment. Like it's just
mm,
within business, not that if your into favorite entertainment is really, that's completely different, right? But
sure.
I find that with entrepreneurs and stuff like that, they're always looking for the next best thing, or the next
Yeah,
way to unlock your potential in business, or
the
whatever the case may
blueprint.
be, the blueprint to make $1 million, right? But then a lot of individuals, and I can say I was a sucker for it myself. Is like you just gotta act, you just gotta do. You're gonna learn more, right? And just acting and doing and taking that leap of faith, right?
Sure.
Um, right. And I like to have these books mainly as a way to provide infrastructure for myself, right?
Mm,
But you gotta go out and shake hands and do the actions and fall down and and take the right appropriate risk, because that's where real growth and real forward movement is had.
it's very true. Uh, Sometimes you gotta actually go into the not the fire, but into the fire to actually appreciate the things that are happening into your business as well, right?
Most
So I,
definitely.
I totally understand that. And even if you fall enough, you can still get up and learn from those lessons to do better as well. I'm sure you've experienced, because what it's been. So you turned the 35. You've lended 35 million in the last 3 years, correct?
No, that's
Or
just 1 year.
1 year. Wait.
So I do that per year now. That was
Okay. Say less. Say less. Okay. And that took with like the mentorship from your mentor, and
Mhm,
then also shaking hands and just being able to get a better understanding of everything.
correct.
Okay. Okay. What? And now that you're making 35 mil a year with lending.
No, I'm so let's just, if I'm making 35 million a year.
No, no, not making. No, no, no. Lending.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say we're living
No,
different.
no, no.
Um,
No, folks. He's not making that. Well, eventually. But
Inshallah, it will happen one day. Watch.
exactly, boom, bam, bam. It will. Um, what did you, with you growing and having this experience? What are the three things you wish you knew about money when you were growing up?
In order, in in money is an exchange of energy. So what I mean by that is money is not to be held on to, right?
Okay.
Coming up from humble beginnings, in having a lack of money, you come into the business world with, I feel like, a you don't have a really an abundant mindset, right? And
Mm,
you want to hold on to money, every last penny. You want just want to grip it too tight. But but what happens is money is an exchange of value, right? So if you're constantly holding on to money, you're never able to actually have more come back to you. So how do I apply this in my
mm,
business? Because I feel like that's a little bit too philosophical, right? Um, you need to be a creator, right? And once you're able to create, someone hopefully is going to pay you for that creation
mm-hmm.
for more than what it took you to create it for, right?
Yeah,
So the banks pay me because I bring them mortgage business, right?
yeah.
Now, how do I then increase the amount of business that I can then bring to the bank so then I can get paid more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then now I'm in the business of sales, right? Maybe it's opening up an office that costs money. But if I'm too
Mm-hmm.
cheap in my business and I'm too scared
Mm,
to take the risk to open up that office, right?
yeah,
That has hundreds of people walking through it every day. Now I
yeah.
could be missing out on hundreds of opportunities to make money. So that's what I mean, right? Um, if you're not on social media, for example, if you're not paying money to advertise or something like that, yes, it you know it costs money. But if I don't pay that, maybe I'm missing on 5 to 6 deals a month, right? So I think you have to you have to be able to reinvest into your business, for it to actually grow. um Secondly, you do not need to be, and this is actually really cool, so you do not need to be uh the best at what you do in order to make the most money in that business,
Mm,
right? So I realized with my mentor, once you've hit a certain level in lending, so I would think
yeah.
35, 40 million, but there's people in the world doing 100 million.
Mm. True, true.
But the difference is they may not actually know more than me. I could
Mm,
actually know more than them about mortgage brokering, right?
yeah,
The difference is usually sales, right? Network. Who
yeah.
knows you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your team, your processes, your systems, which has nothing to do with the actual knowledge of mortgage brokering, who has the best rates, who has the best products, who has this, who has that, and has everything to do in terms of the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of individuals, I think, in order to really 10x your business,
Yeah.
um, once you've got a good understanding of the product and the skill and what it takes,
Mm-hmm.
focus really on everything around it now, the business and how to monetize that, because that's what's going to take you to the next level. So that's two. And
Yeah.
man, three things, eh?
Yeah.
Oh man, compound interest,
Mm.
investing.
Ooh, ooh, say it again.
Compound interest, investing. Really, even though I'm still young, but just investing earlier. If I could have started investing earlier,
Listen.
it would have made my life a lot. I would have been way more ahead. But again, not dwelling on the past. I'm still
Yeah.
doing it now. I'm taking action now. But
Mm-hmm.
um, investing earlier, having investing in, even having a small amount of money in a ETF account for your kids, when they're first born or something like that, will do you wonders, right? And putting like $100 a month, right? Um, conservatively making 6 to 8% in the market, which is any conservative, ETF in the stock market is going to do that. By the
Yep.
time they're 21, 22, they're going to probably have enough for, college tuition to be fully paid, right? They're just the smallest things make a difference when you start younger.
That's very true. And I was actually mentioning that today in my webinar, like just thinking of the rule of 72, and then just like starting early with your kids will like help not only them but help like the whole family and just creating generational wealth. Because imagine if not only are you learning but you're teaching like your parents, grandparents, and kids and or nieces and nephews. The whole family gets better in time,
Yeah,
right? So I'm happy that you said that, because compound interest, I don't think a lot of people realize that. Even the youngings, like in the 20s and stuff, just thinking like YOLO and things, like you just invest a little bit, like, 25, $50 and stuff. It helps in a long way,
yeah,
right?
it does.
So yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that. And what are other avenues that you're pursuing at the moment in time?
I'm pursuing zero other avenues at the moment. I'm very much so
Hmm.
a type of individual is that whenever you if you haven't scaled something to its maximum capability,
Mm,
unless there's a reason why you no longer want to be in that business, if it's health or family related or something like that, that totally makes sense. But you can't it's very hard to dabble and have your intention everywhere,
mm,
right? Or else you're
yeah,
never going to actually able to have the vertical growth that you have, right? And get fully what you want out of it, right? Now, I can't. There's a lot of things that interest me that I would like to get in on a more um, uh, um, um, passive stance,
yeah,
but eh, I realize until I hit the numbers I want in this business, it's going to allow me the options to then passively invest in other businesses where I don't have to really be a part of, right? But you have to be able to grow one thing first fully and see it through to the end. In my personal belief, until now you're able to sit back and allocate your money in different areas without putting that sweat equity.
true. So basically, being a master in one,
Correct.
then being able to dabble into it. Actually, that makes sense, and I've heard it so many times. It's like there's so many people that are like, "Oh, Camille, you should invest in crypto. You should do this." I'm like, chill, chill, chill. Let me just like know how to invest like into stocks and things, and then option trading and futures trading, and then maybe I'll get into crypto or forex. Like I don't see the purpose of like until you're able to master that one skill at first, then you'll be able to go to the others. Let's see the book one too. What was the deal that leads to money? The book. Oh, okay. Thank you, Minnie. Thank you, Minnie. I think M. Allen was saying that the person that's making 100 million is basically making more just because they're talking to more people, and then
100.
all in due time.
Well, more or less. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? More or less. I would totally agree with that.
and also if you hold on to value like knowledge, okay, and not be conceptually. Perhaps, and things. What else? What else? Um, what is one thing you would? What's another advice that you would provide folks? Just before we wrap up and things. Like, what's one advice that you would want people to have a better understanding of when it comes to the industry, or not even industry, just
Business.
this? Yeah,
Business.
yeah, in business.
It's it, getting started is the hardest part. But once you've gotten started,
Yeah.
it's not as hard as what most people think. Um, to get good as to be considered good in an industry is is actually I feel like in this day and age is quite easy with all the distractions we have going on and lack of competition.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part is going being from good to great, which goes
Mm,
around the systems and the ecosystem. But I think a lot of people, especially within our community,
Yeah.
we can be very good at what we do, right? But it's just about taking that leap of faith, and actually just getting the ball rolling, right? And earning, and you can earn an honest living off of just simply being good, right? And then, once you're there, then taking that and hopefully growing to expand in whatever form of entrepreneurship or even investing, right? But I'm a firm believer that you need to either be investing or have some sort of side hustle in order to create a certain level of freedom or comfortability, because just right now in this economy and the way the world is going, I don't
Mhm.
think a lot of individuals are going to be able to, live a full life just off of their one job, right?
Trust. That is very true. Especially, well, at least like what this week, the interest rate went down to 4.25%.
Hmm.
I mean, it helps some people with like credit and things, but yeah, the economy, it is getting a little scary. Like a lot of folks have been asking me like, yo, Cam, do you think it's gonna be like a recession? I'm like, honestly, only time will tell. And just like we have to be prepared for those times as well. So having more than one or two streams of income is actually essential for us.
No, I 1,000%, 1,000%. I think, having if you're too close to one stream of income, it's like you're too. I feel like you're too close to broke, right? Because look what happened to COVID, right? A lot of people lost their jobs, right, without
Hmm.
being able to somewhat sustain themselves, or like their livelihood, right? And it's no fault to anyone. Obviously, no one could have predicted that, right? But it just shows that your 9 to 5 or your corporate job isn't as safe as maybe you once thought. And the world that we're living in is very different from the world that we're living with our parents, where you
Hmm.
have your 9 to 5, you work there for 40 years, you get a pension, and
Yeah,
then that pension is going to be able to give you a solid retirement, right? I don't
yeah,
even know a lot of people with pensions anymore,
right.
right? So
Jeez,
it just goes to show that this is actually imperative for your families, right, in order to
hmm,
properly take care of your families and loved ones.
exactly. And oop, I have a question from the audience. Invest while paying off debt or pay off debt then invest?
I would say depending on what type of debt that you have, right?
Mm, yeah.
I think that ultimately will be the deciding
Oh,
factor. I'm not a debt specialist or anything like that, but my personal thing is I would pay off um high level, if you have high level like consumer debt, like credit cards and lines of credits.
mm-hmm.
I would pay those off ASAP, because it's the interest will kill you over an extended period of time.
True,
Um,
20%.
Especially
Oof.
at 15.99 or 22% that some of these credit cards and lines of credits are. Usually
Mhm.
you're not making even that much in investing, right? So it's just going to be a net negative anyways. So you might as well pay those things off first. Now, if it's
Yeah.
student loans, I'm not really a proponent of rushing to pay student loans off. Just make the monthly payment,
Yeah.
and I would just rather, because that's at like 4% or something like that, not even, right?
Yeah. True.
So I would just rather take that money, make the monthly payments, and invest it in another asset. If I had to just give an example.
Yeah. That's great advice. That is great advice. Thank you, Charles. And Charles, how can the folks find you, sir?
Yeah, no, very easy. I left my email in the chat, Charles at tmoney.ca, or you can follow me on Instagram at underscore CK the broker. I'll type it in as well.
I'm about to type it. I think I. Oh, dang! You typed it real quick. You had it on speed dial,
Yes,
literally.
yes, ma'am.
Second. Boom, boom, boom. There you have it, folks. It's a struggle today. Whoa. And honestly, Charles, like like I said, I've been really excited for like a whole year. I'm like, Charles, I need to talk to you. So like, I'm so happy that you took the time to like, you know, spend this time with me having this lovely conversation. And we definitely need
100%.
to keep doing this and keep doing you and keep being amazing.
No,
Is
thank you.
there
I really
anything you want?
appreciate it.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to tell the folks before we dip out?
No, man. I first and foremost, thank you for inviting me on your platform to speak and connect with your network and tap into your ecosystem. I really, really do appreciate it. I know we've was long overdue, but like I said, I am a man of my word, so I knew as soon as I was going to come back out and do a podcast that you were the first one that I do, and I want to make sure that happened. And no, outside of that, hope everyone was able to pick up one or two gems. If there is any high level, real estate or mortgage financing questions, please don't be afraid to reach out to me directly. And I'll see everyone at the top.
Awesome. Like, all right, folks, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend, contact Charles because he knows the gems. All right. Until next time, and stay warm. You see how we have like hoodies and sweaters on?
Yeah.
Canada's cold. Till next time, folks. Peace out.
I just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution.